person that is typically in the middle. Maybe you are the woman in leadership, perhaps you are the man in leadership that has a way of always bringing everyone together. But for some reason, in this circumstance, you can't. That's what we're going to talk about in this video today. We're going to highlight when being the peacemaker is simply not enough in high stakes conversations. Now, this is definitely more of an advanced topic that we are going to be discussing today. If you have found yourself in that situation where you are typically the peacemaker, the one that brings everyone together, this is the perfect video for you, because there may be a situation when what you are doing is simply not enough. And we're going to talk about that in this video, which is why you want to watch this until the very end, friends. If you are new to me, welcome, welcome. And if you're one of my absolutely amazing subscribers, welcome back, friend. This channel heavily focuses on advanced communication skills and strategies that will help you to develop an unfair competitive advantage as it relates to how you communicate in those high stakes, high pressure situations. Let me know in the comments below if you identify with being the peacemaker, the one that can come into a conversation when everything is crazy and can be able to bring everyone together. Are you that type of person? Put it in the comments below. Let me know. Let me share with you a couple things while I'm waiting for some responses to come in as it relates to being the peacemaker. Now, when you are in high stakes situations, high stakes by definition is when there is a lot on the line. There's a lot of risk that is present. There is a lot of tension in a conversation. There may be high emotions. Therefore, when you are in high stakes situations, which is the specialty of this channel, you have to be prepared for things to go in a positive way, and you need to be even more so prepared when the situation goes into a negative direction very quickly. Now, you may have been that peacemaker, as you identified earlier, and said, I am the person that can always bring people together, always bring people together. But what happens when you can't? What happens when you do your normal strategy and you're talking to people, you're trying to bring them together, and you're saying, let's listen to what this person has to say, let's listen to this what this person has to say, and you find that it's just not working for you? That's what we're going to talk about today. I want to say hello and welcome to those of you watching the live today. Let me know in the comments below two things. One, what part of the big, beautiful world you are joining from today? And number two, do you identify with being the peacemaker in conversations? If so, you want to watch this video until the end, because I want to make sure that you are not caught off guard when being the peacemaker is simply not enough in a high stakes situation. I want to say hello to AYZMIG7. Hello, welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well today. As I was saying, you may find yourself as that peacemaker. You're doing your same strategy that you normally do to try to bring people together. Let's bring this person together. Let's bring this person together, and let's just all talk about it. I will share with you that there will be a time when you are doing your normal strategy that you're trying to do to bring people together, and it's not going to work. And let's talk about what do you do when that happens. But before I do that, let's go into the chat. Anthony watches. Hello, Anthony. How you doing today? We have J. Manuel Ramirez. Hello, welcome, friend. J. Manuel says, hello, station in northwestern Iraq and American flag. James Manuel Ramirez, high five, friend. I know this is your first time on the channel, but appreciate your service, appreciate you being there, and wishing you safety. And we just appreciate everything that you do for us here in the States. And just glad that you're here, and stay safe, friend. We definitely want you to come back. Anthony Watches says hi, and Anthony Watches says, I'm doing good. How are you? I'm doing fantastically well, friend, and hope you all are doing well also. If you are new to this channel, because we have some new people here, this channel focuses on high stakes, high pressure communication. Therefore, if you find yourself in situations where the stakes are high, just like J. Manuel Ramirez is in very high stakes in northwestern Iraq right now, this is the channel for you. This is the only channel on YouTube that has over 1,100 videos that are dedicated to help you be able to develop an unfair competitive advantage as it relates to how you communicate in those very high stakes, high pressure situations. I go live here on YouTube at least 7 to 8 times a week, friends. That's why we have so many videos. If you have questions or if there's topics specifically that you want to learn more about, you are always welcome to send me a message either via Instagram or on LinkedIn. You can always put something in the comments below and I will do a video and give a shout out in the video just to you, depending on the topic that you want to learn a bit more about. There's a couple things that I'll go into our topic in just a moment about being the peacemaker, but there's a couple of aspects of high stakes communication that are going to be very important for you to start building a baseline on. And I'll go over these really quickly. Take a look at the playlist that I have on my channel because it will give you a solid foundation as it relates to how to communicate under pressure. Any of the videos on my channel, on my live tab specifically, that talk about maintaining eye contact, facial expressions, silence, controlling your emotions under pressure, controlling your body language. Any of those videos will help to start developing high stakes communication skills as it relates to how you are communicating. So just keep that in mind. That's a good place to start. There is a tab here on my channel a playlist that specifically is dedicated to high stakes communication fundamentals. Thank you for the heart emojis, the 100s, and all of that. I appreciate you all being here. So let me know if you've ever been the peacemaker. Have you ever been the peacemaker in a conversation? Put it in the comments below. Let's talk about it. We have Tonette. Hello, Tonette. How are you doing today? Now, let me share with you what happens when being the peacemaker is simply not enough. You may find yourself in this situation, as I mentioned earlier, before those of you joined today. Let me know where you're joining from also, friends, that you're doing your usual peacemaking. You're being nice. You're speaking in a nice tone of voice. You're making eye contact, but you see that the conversation is not ending. The peace is just simply not there. What do? There's a couple things to keep in mind. If you find yourself in that situation where you're the peacemaker and it's not enough in this conversation, maybe it's a very volatile subject, a very contentious subject that is highly emotional for the people that are in the conversation. Remember, high stakes means that there is most likely a lot on the line. There's a lot of risk, there's a lot of emotion. But if you see people are still upset, even though you've tried, there is a strategy I want you to start using that can help you to start to manage that situation when your peacemaking skills are just not enough for this one. Because there's going to be a situation where it's going to be too much for you. So I want you to be prepared for it. Now, what you can do is when you see people are still arguing back and forth, even though you're trying to be the peacemaker, they could care less what you have to say. When you see people talking back and forth, it may not be just one person, it may be a group of people. In order to reset the room, there is something important that you have to keep in mind. Typically, when people feel this way and they're very upset, they are trying to have what they are saying to actually be heard by the other parties. Now, usually what happens is when people find there's a disagreement, there's someone or maybe both people are not listening to each other. Now, as the peacemaker, and you want to try a different tactic, a different strategy to help regain control of this conversation, the best level set that I would make is to get to a point in the conversation and stop it. You have to stop it. You have to stop the conversation, stop the dialogue. Whether you say, excuse me, just a moment, we need to take a time out, we need to do a reset. You will need to say something as a peacemaker that is going to disrupt the flow of the conversation. Why? Because once you disrupt the flow of the conversation, especially if people are going back and forth with each other, then all attention in the room is going to go straight to you. And people are going to want to hear, what does this person have to say? Wait, why did they just stop them talking like that? Once you have the attention of the room, you have to redefine the rules of engagement. Most of the time in this situation where being the peacemaker is simply not enough, there is a lot of emotion that is probably going on. People are very upset, but they more than likely are not communicating with each other in a respectful way. Therefore, when you have the room's attention, you say, excuse me, pardon me, I have something to say. We need to reset this conversation. You are reestablishing the rules of engagement here. We can disagree and we can hear what everybody has to say. However, and I'm telling you what I have actually said to people in situations like this, I have told them, I cannot understand what the true issue is when the two of you or the group of you are talking over each other. If we can reset and communicate with each other in a professional way, allow each other to say what they need to say within reason, then we should be able to come to some type of resolution, some type of compromise as it relates to this issue. Now, I said that many times, and I have found that it helps out extremely well. It helps out well because the room has to focus on what you are saying because you are disrupting the conversation. Now, as I mentioned, this is a strategy that you would implement if you have found that being the peacemaker as you normally are is not working. It's not working whatsoever. People are ignoring you. They're not listening to you. You'll have to break up the dialogue of the conversation and reset the rules of engagement. We need to communicate in a respectful way. We do not need to elevate our voices. We cannot understand what's going on if two people are yelling. Therefore, let's communicate professionally the way that we need to. If not, maybe this is a conversation we need to have at another day. And I would mention that, depending on the role that you're in, as many of you know, I've been a C-suite executive for a long time and in senior executive roles, but I would make that line in the sand, so to speak, verbally, that we have to communicate in a respectful way we can't understand. And what I've seen happen when I've mentioned it, that statement specifically, is that the room dynamic tends to change. The people that were arguing with each other will lower their voices because basically they have been called out for acting in a way that is not as professional as we would like for them to. A additional strategy I want to mention to you as it relates to this is your tone of voice when you are speaking this. Now, I talk about this a lot on the channel, about knowing your baseline. And for those of you who are new to the channel, I see a lot of new people here today. Thank you for being here. The tone of your voice is very important for you to personally know. This is your baseline. There's a way that you speak every single day when you are talking to people. And when you make modifications to your baseline, specifically, if you elevate your voice, you lower your voice, you soften your voice, people determine and are able to identify something is changing in this conversation. What is it? When you have a situation where your peacemaking abilities are not where they need to be, or they are not making an impactful change in this discussion, your tone of voice has to become a bit more direct in terms of what you are saying. And more than likely, it could vary, but more than likely you will want to lower your voice or add a bit more depth to your voice as it relates to where you normally are with your baseline. For example, I typically talk this way all the time. Many of you see me on over 1,000 videos here and I'm live all the time. This is the way that I communicate. However, if I was in a situation where my previous peacemaking abilities are not changing this situation, we're still going around the circle of people yelling at each other and arguing, I would lower my voice, not whisper, but the depth of my voice would be lower, and I would say, hold on just a second. We need to make sure that we're communicating in a respectful way where we can understand what is actually being said. We cannot understand what you are saying if one person is yelling and the other person is yelling, and etc. Now, you may be wondering, well, how do you lower the depth of your voice? Like, what do you do specifically? That's why you work with me directly. If you are at a point where you are in those very high stakes, highly visible roles, and you know that you may come across some very contentious situations, and you want to be that leader that is not the person that looks like you do not know what you are doing, then feel free to contact me at exciteexcellence.org. There are multiple ways that I can support you, friend, to help you be able to do this. I'll give you something else to work with also as a bonus, because you know I give you all as much as I can because some of us may never even meet. We're on different parts of the world, and I want to support you even if you're not based here in the U.S. Taking a breath will help you. Taking a big breath will help to bring out more air. Therefore, when you are speaking, it sounds a bit louder and you start to project a bit more. So there's a couple exercises I do with my clients to help them to do that in these situations, but that's just something for you to keep in mind. Now, we've talked about what do you do when your ability as the peacemaker is simply not enough In this particular high stakes conversation, I shared with you specifically what high stakes mean. What does it mean exactly? There's a lot on the line. There's a lot of emotions there. You may have found that you are typically the peacemaker. You're the one that brings everybody together and helps them to be able to calm down and be more relaxed. But in this particular situation, it may not be enough. And if it's not enough and you want to be the person that can bring peace, then you have to change your approach. You'll have to disrupt the conversation, the flow, briefly, have everybody's eyes and ears listening and watching you, and then reset the rules of engagement in terms of how we need to communicate with each other. We cannot understand what is being said because this person's mad, that person's mad, etc. Now, I want to give a special shout out to Kat 23rd for this topic because this is a topic that she mentioned in one of our lives, and I want to make sure that I highlight ways that you can still continue to be the peacemaker, but know and understand that there will be situations that come up that will throw you off guard, where what you have used in the past may not work for you. And the best way to master high stakes communication is to have as many strategies as you can in a way to where when a situation comes up and it's urgent and it's immediate and you know this is a problem, you can remember, oh, I remember Dr. Jacinta saying that if what I have been doing as a peacemaker is not working, I need to change my approach. You don't need to be forceful, you don't need to be argumentative with the group, but you have to reset the conversation. And sometimes that reset not only happens by what you verbally say, as I mentioned, we cannot understand what's being said by the people yelling, but you actually need to literally reset the conversation. And you can do that by disrupting it in a way to where everybody has to look at you. And when they are looking at you, then they are listening to what you have to say for those brief moments. Now, there are several situations, and there's a couple other strategies, as I alluded to earlier in the live, that you will need to incorporate when you are finding yourself in a situation where being the peacemaker is not enough. We talk about this at length on this channel, which is one of the reasons why, if you have not subscribed yet, you absolutely should do so, because this is the only channel on YouTube, friends. And I'm not saying this because this is my channel. I'm telling you, this is the reality. This is the only channel on YouTube that goes live, that has high stakes situations happen, that is able to articulate how you can manage these situations in a way to where you can start implementing them in your everyday conversations after you are finished watching the video. Keep that in mind. I appreciate you all being here. My mission here is to build the largest high stakes communication content library for leaders on planet Earth. I cannot do that by myself, but I can do it with your help. If you have topics, or if you notice something that has worked for you when you have been in those high stakes situations, please put it in the comments below, because it allows other people that watch the live videos at different parts of the world to understand this is how other people manage high stakes communication. I talk about this a lot on the channel. Many leaders, they know how to communicate. They absolutely know how to communicate. That's why they're in leadership roles. However, when the conversation goes under pressure, so to speak, when the pressure is on and the stakes are high and the room is watching you, that's when I see a lot of people start to stumble. And we talk about different ways to build yourself up, to prepare yourself for those situations when they come up. Because if you are a woman in leadership, or perhaps a man in leadership, these situations will come up for you. And if you are subscribed to my channel, I do not want you to be the person that looks like you do not have it together. I guarantee you, regardless of where you are on your leadership journey, there is something that you will gain from one of my over 1,100 videos on this channel that will help you to stand out from everybody else in terms of how you communicate under pressure, whether you are new to the world of leadership or you are a seasoned CEO managing millions and billions of dollars. There's always ways we can communicate and enhance how we communicate. And if you want to truly transform your life in terms of where you're going, how you're getting there, then contact me directly and I will help you to do that at exciteexcellence.org. Let me know what questions you have. Let me know what challenges you are navigating right now, specifically as it relates to your role, your profession. Come to me, please, with the hard situations. The easy ones I can manage, but the hard situations, the complex situations that you just don't even want to talk about to anyone, that's my expertise. Feel free to let me know what you're dealing with. I'll do a video just for you, and